Right, so it's early in the morning and you're coming out to the car and there are no lights and there's no one at home. The door won't pop its handles. It won't open when you press that. You can't open with the key lock. So the 12-volt battery must be flat. This does happen occasionally for various reasons. I'll go through why and how to avoid it and how to monitor it, and then also how to fix it and get you going. Right, first things first, take the emergency key out. Then pop that in there. That's you in the car. And now pop the bonnet. Right, you're in the car. The 12-volt battery appears to be flat, so what do? It's worth investing in one of these battery booster packs. Basically, you can also charge your phone off it as well, so it's a dual use. You can't get these anymore, but there'll be a similar one which I'll put a link in the description to. But they're a very useful thing to have and carry around with you all the time. 12-volt battery can go flat for various reasons. I'll go through some of these later, but for now we want to get the car started. So unpack this. There's your pack. It's got 2 bars on, and then you just connect that into the 2-prong socket on there, like that, and then follow the instructions. See, that's flashing red and green. If you press and hold it, then it goes into boost mode. You do that once you've connected this to the 12-volt battery. You connect the positive to positive, negative to negative. Just should all be instructions as well. Right, so you've got the bonnet open. Remember, there is a little catch there. This has its own gas struts. And you open your frunk. To access the battery terminals, you pull this. That clips back on. And then you need to connect that one, clips up. So positive to positive, negative to negative. Then you can plug this in and then press the boost button, which I won't do because it doesn't need it, because I'm just simulating this. Then if you go back in the car, all of a sudden you've got power again. So then you can start the car. And then remove the jump starters. And then pop that back down. Pop the cover back on. It goes on from the bottom way, pushing down the bottom first, that side. That's it, clip back on, close the bonnet. Now the car started, now it's topping itself back up from the 12-volt battery, from the main traction battery, and topping the 12-volt battery back up. So if you leave your car off in utility mode and lock it with a window, or just sit in it for 10 minutes, or if you carry on driving it, you can drive it now. It should be able to drive. If there's not enough juice in the 12 volt, it won't let you engage the drive mode or the gear. So that's it. So these are invaluable. For those who come from an internal combustion engine or diesel car, you might wonder why an electric car still needs a 12-volt battery when you've got this massive hulking lithium-ion battery or something like it under the car. Why doesn't it just work off that? The first reason is safety. You don't really want 800 or 400 volts flowing through your car's components because it would probably kill you pretty well dead. The second reason is the legacy. Automotive systems are all 12 volt and have been for years, and a lead acid battery that's in there is pretty cheap and has been used reliably for absolute years. So despite you not needing a starter motor to start the engine, you still need it. It still powers the head unit and the car's computer, the control unit, the ECU, and all of the 12 volt sockets, and all the systems and lights are still 12 volt. So you still need your 12 volt system. If you didn't, you'd have to down convert it because all of the components everywhere are 12 volt. Every time you convert something, you lose some of the energy, so it's not that efficient. It's simply just keep it as 12 volt. You might well ask, why don't they make the 12 volt battery a lithium ion battery? Well, they cost a lot more. As simple as that. It is possible sometimes to get a faulty battery from new, and some people have to get them replaced under warranty. So be aware of that, but it takes a lot of testing and paying to get to the point where you have to get it changed. So that is why you've still got 12 volt systems in the car. Okay, I've just shown you how to get out of a flat 12 volt battery situation and get your car going, but how can you avoid it, and how can you monitor the 12 volt battery? Well, the easiest method is via the Kia Connect app. So if you click on status and do a refresh, and then scroll down and into others and details, you will see the 12 volt battery says OK. Now that indicator changes to amber and red at various states of the 12 volt battery being low. So amber's kind of medium warning. I don't know what the exact percentages are, and then red is you definitely need to get it charged ASAP, you're going to have problems. The actual act of constantly running Kia Connect and refreshing with the car switched off also flattens the 12 volt battery, so be aware of that. If you do that too much, you can cause the problem that you're trying to avoid. The second method, I've got an OBD dongle and Carscanner, as you can see on the screen there. My auxiliary battery is at 13.8 volts. So even though it's 12 volts, it runs slightly higher. The higher the voltage, the higher the state of charge. Because there are no sensors inside the battery like you get in the BMS on your traction battery. You don't get all the detail. So it's easier to monitor with Carscanner. And I'll show you some things later on in how you can monitor stuff on here. The third method is to use a device such as QuickLink's Battery Monitor 2, and that monitors your 12 volt battery, and you can access it via a Bluetooth remotely, and you can draw graphs and all kinds of nice things. I'm going to leave a link to Mr. EV, which is Andrew Till's website, because he was the king of the flat battery in like 2019 and 2020. He made loads of videos. He's a complete legend. You probably already know him. He's the guy who kind of inspired me and kind of helped push me into getting an EV6. And sorry, if I didn't have an EV6, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you now, or making videos for this channel. So I think it's mostly all his fault. So I will put a link to his website and to the QuickLink's battery monitor. Also the portable jump starter, which is similar to mine, but it's the one he's used. You can't get mine anymore, but I'd go for the links on his website. So those are the three ways of monitoring. So how do you avoid flattening your 12-volt battery? Number one, do not wire anything directly into the 12-volt battery or into the fuse box like a dash cam that is always on, because that will cause a phantom drain and the car and its systems will not be able to cope and keep the 12-volt battery topped up. The way that the car tops up the 12-volt battery is if it's on or in utility mode, it will top it up. If it's being charged, it will top it up. If it's being driven, it'll top it up. Also, overnight at random times, you'll see there's a little bibble which is a light on the top of the dash, and you might see that come on at night, and that is the car running a schedule to top up the 12-volt battery from the traction battery. And that's to help and save the battery from going flat, but it's not an active management thing because it needs the ECU on to monitor the 12-volt battery. So short of having the car actually properly constantly on all the time, fully awake, I think that's the reason it doesn't monitor it as much as it should. Anyway, so don't wire dash cams directly to the 12-volt that are always on, because that will drain it. Just don't do it. Do not run the entertainment system for long periods without EV ignition or the utility mode being on. Look at my previous videos for utility mode, I've made quite a few. Do not leave the tailgate open for long periods without the car being either on or in utility mode. When the tailgate is actually open, there is an internal light in the boot or the trunk, which I think is not LED, and that will flatten the battery over time. It won't get topped up because the car's not on to do it. So that can cause you a flat battery problem. Do not constantly adjust the electric seats with ignition utility mode off. Again, I've got the monitor screen on here, so if I adjust the seat, you'll see, well, when the seat graphic's gone, that causes a little spike. Can't quite read it because the pop-ups appeared over the top. Anyway, put my seat back the way it was. Also, if you constantly open and shut the tailgate, that can cause a power drain without the ignition or utility mode being on. Do not run the car in accessory mode for long periods with things such as the entertainment system on. So don't leave the car with the radio on without it being on or in utility mode. Accessory mode is when you've got the orange light on. So if I turn this off and turn it on without pressing the foot brake, you'll see accessory in the binnacle and the orange kind of disabled, immobilised car symbol come up. So you can put the radio on, but I've got it muted. But that will help drain the 12-volt battery and it won't get topped up, so you're back to square one. So I think the answer is to either have it on or utility mode. Things that use... So that's still in accessory mode, and that will drain the battery, but if I turn it off, press the foot brake, the orange immobiliser light's gone, and that is now fully on. To monitor your energy usage, you go into the EV screen and pull down hamburger and energy information and energy consumption. So things that use energy, obviously heated steering wheel, you'll see it spike now. See, that's gone up to 40.42 kilowatts. Put on the heated seats, put on 2 heated seats. See, that's gone up from 0.2 to 0.6, that's using half a kilowatt. Notice that on the Carscanner though, the 12 volt isn't being used, so that's been pulled from the traction battery, or it's been topped up. I think it's more than likely being pulled, and you can see the amount of kilowatts being used there. kind of lines up with that there, but this is more up to date. I think that's a bit laggy, so probably Carscanner's more up to date. Not 100% sure, but it seems to be following it. So now my seat's getting hot. If you put the heater on, just the blower, I'll leave the heat off. Notice, and then put the heat on. See that is pulling from the 12 volt, but I think the car's topping it up because that just did glitch. See, you're getting a high figure there. I think it's maintaining the battery. You'll see it's maintaining the voltage on the 12 volt there. So turn that off. Turn the climate back off. Turn the seat off. If you press and hold the seat, it does all the offs in one go. So just, yeah, heated steering wheel off. So now we're back down to 0.2, 1, 0.2, whatever. The 12 volt battery is 13.8 volts. If I open the tailgate, you'll see the usage on there, and you'll also see it on there. But you also see that it's using the 12 volt battery. See, it's gone down. But as the ignition's on, it will come straight back up. Well, he says, but it's actually just dipped quite a bit. Now if I close it again, now I can monitor with the ignition off on Carscanner, so I'll turn the car off. But the car hasn't gone completely off. It takes a minute or so to actually completely shut down. Notice you can't get at the heater controls; they don't work. But the radio comes on for a bit. That's lowering the 12 volt battery. If I mess with the seats, that's draining the 12 volt battery without it being topped back up. We're down to 12.4 volts where it was 13 point something. If I open the boot again, it's strange that it hasn't dipped. If I leave the tailgate open, eventually the 12 volts will start dropping in voltage. And that will time out in a minute anyway. The car's now gone to sleep fully and the tailgate's open. I just did a refresh on Kia Connect and that made the voltage drop by 0.1. If I do it again, you'll see it drops again. Down to 12.2. Still says the 12 volts are okay though. Now I'll close the tailgate and you'll see the voltage drop. 12.1 down to 12 and back up to 12.1, 12.2. I open it again, it's gone back up to 12.2, and it's probably going to stay at 12.2. But also the lights on in the back, so it's, as I say, if you leave that on open too long, I think that will drain your 12 volt. One last thing I'm going to show you is when you plug the car in and charge it, you'll see the 12 volt battery gets topped up almost immediately. So I'll start that now. So currently we're at 12 volt is on 11.9. The charge is plugged in, but I've got to manually switch it to switch into 7 kilowatt mode. So I'll do that. So I'll put it on fast. Then you'll see that go negative, and then that suddenly jump up from 11.9 volts on the 12 volt. So that's already gone. That's going up now. We're charging. There's your charge coming in, and the voltage on the 12 volts has jumped back up to over 13. So that's your proof that when you charge, it tops up the 12 volt immediately. No messing. That -6 is the, well, inferior. It's 7.5 kilowatts on the screen, but what is actually inside the car is slightly lower. Anyway, back into Eco Plus mode. So your normal voltage for your 12 volt is 14 point something when it's healthy. If it's not, it'll be lower than that, and it won't take much of a pounding to flatten it. Anyway, I hope you found this video helpful, and it will save people a lot of trouble and bother. So thanks for watching.